Hey guys, welcome back to Electrohorde. And well, my very first video on this channel was about this HP200LX Palmtop, which is actually a fully compatible XT machine that can fit in your pocket. So I got a lot of positive feedback on that video, so I decided to try something different. I decided to try to build a complete desktop computer out of this thing. And by desktop, I mean I would like to try to connect a mouse or a printer and try to get Windows running here. Of course, we'll have to get a pretty old version of Windows running here because it won't be able to run anything newer. But well, this does have DOS installed, and it is a fully compatible x86 Intel processor machine, so it should be able to run Windows. It should be able to handle a serial port mouse, since it does have a serial port. This is a serial port, even though it's not a DB9 connector. It's a custom connector from HP, but it is a serial port, and it also has infrared here, and it also has a PCMCIA slot here, so we can add some flash memory. So I guess this should be doable. I don't know, we'll try it together. And just a note, the 200LX that I used on the first video on this channel is not this one. This one I had it in storage because it still has a perfect screen. This is still the original screen, and so it has much better contrast than the other one. So I got it out of storage to use on this video because I want to get a good shot, a clear view of the screen, and it should be much better. It should be much easier to do it using this one instead of the other one. Okay, so I guess the first step is to try to get this running, try to get some software running on it, and also try to install some batteries, put some new batteries in it, and try to get it running. Okay, so what I thinking about doing is, I guess I will first head over to my desktop computer, and the easiest way to get software and to get files on this thing is by using the PCMCIA slot, because we can get a compact flash card here, and we can also get those cheap compact flash USB card readers. So we just need to copy the files from our desktop computer to the compact flash through USB, and then get the compact flash running here. And this should get the basic software that we need to try to turn this into a desktop. So let's head over to my computer and let's start. So here we are. Here's my computer screen, and now let's take a look of what we can do to get the HP200LX running. So the first thing you notice that I have a list of files and folders here, and my plan is to copy all of these folders and files to the 200LX so we can get pretty fast some software running on it, and also we can quickly configure it to work the way we want it. Okay, so let's just take a look at what we have here. So we have a few folders for backup of our files inside there, for the battery voltage check application. We have some games. We have Windows. I copied over the Windows 3.0 folder here so we can try to run Windows on the 200LX. We have both Word for Windows and for DOS. And I also made an AutoExec batch file, so the Palmtop will automatically run it when it reboots and do a lot of interesting stuff. Well, let's open the batch file. So what we have here is just a bunch of things running to adjust the display contrast, for instance, and it also checks if the Palmtop is being turned on for the first time after it has been in storage for a long time and the memory has been completely wiped, so it will automatically reconfigure a lot of stuff and also restore all this software that's on these folders to get them running back again, and do some stuff like turn on the serial port and set the internal battery as rechargeable, since I'm using envelopes on it, and it also loads some drivers and stuff. Okay, so basically what I want to do is get all these files and folders and copy them to the 200LX. So what I did, I just used a generic compact flash reader. I actually used this one. It's a pretty generic one, and you can see it has a compact flash slot. So I use this thing to copy it over all of these folders and files to this card. And as you know, the 200LX will run software from a regular compact flash card. You can use cards up to 256 megabytes without any special software or driver. It will instantly recognize it. And then you just need an adapter, because the 200LX does not have a compact flash adapter. It actually a compact flash slot. It actually has a PCMCIA slot. So you need one of these adapters that will take a compact flash card like this one and enable you to use a PCMCIA card in the slot. Okay, so that was just the screensaver. Let me just take it out. So now I have already copied all the files here. I put it into a PCMCIA slot adapter, and now we'll get this running on the 200LX. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we have the software in here. We have a coin cell battery for the memory backup, and we have 2 AA batteries. So the first step is to install the batteries. First, let's get the coin cell battery in. This is the coin cell battery holder. You can see that there's a drawing showing how you should install the battery. Let's get this here. Let's put the cover back in. Now let's first get this memory card in, because we want it to boot from the memory card, so it will run that batch file that I created. Now let's put the AA batteries in, and now I'll just focus on the screen and turn it on so we can see it running. Okay, so the Palmtop has just booted, and we can see that it's initializing and it's running our autoexec.batch file, and it just noticed that the whole memory has been wiped, so it restored some backup files, and now it has tested for the current date and time, and it noticed that it's not correct. It's set to 1980, so it's asking me to enter the correct date. So we are on, this is May 1st, 2023, enter, and now it's asking me for the time. It's 9:15 a.m. Okay, now it's loading some other drivers from our batch file. It's loading a mouse driver, because as I said, I do intend to connect a mouse to it, and it booted. Okay, so now let's head over to the application manager so we can see what we have here. These are all the basic applications that comes already preloaded with the 200LX. Nothing new here. They're basically personal information managers like appointments, phone book, note taker, memo. It also has Pocket Quicken and Lotus 123, a calculator, world time. Here we can get access to DOS, like I showed on my first video on the channel. And down here we have some more included apps like this stopwatch, these two games, and this is from my compact flash card. These are from the files that I copied from my desktop computer. The Hangman game. This is an HP 82240 printer driver. I do not have this printer, but I'm trying to find one for a decent price to add to my hoarding. And down here we have Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, which is a game. We have Word that I installed. We have a task manager. That's also an application from my compact flash card. We have Berry Check. We have Windows 3 from that folder for Windows 3 that I copied over to the compact flash card. And this is a batch file that I made, this backup C drive that just backs up all the internal information on the Palmtop back to the compact flash card. So in case the memory runs out and there's no backup battery, it will just automatically restore my files just like it did when it booted a few minutes ago. Okay, so we can run this backup C drive so you guys can see what it does. It asks me to press a key to continue, and if I press the key, it will look for all the user created files and it will copy them over to the A card, which is the compact flash card. Okay, so it's finished. Let's just hit enter. Okay, so I guess the software part is complete. We don't have to do anything else. Just as a note, the compact flash card actually works as a hard drive, I guess we could call it, inside the 200LX. So if we get this card in here, we can just access it and read its files just like a normal drive, and it has the benefit that it doesn't need power to keep your files, so you'll never lose any user files. So if we run DOS here, let's get to DOS, and we hit like C drive. This is the internal memory, the RAM memory. We can read its files, and if we go to drive A, which is the compact flash card, we'll be able to see exactly all the files that we copied over from our desktop computer to here, right? So these are all the folders and files that we copied over. And to get back to the application manager, we just hit exit. Okay, so that's it. I guess now we need to get a mouse working here, and then we'll try to run Windows with a mouse to see if it works, and try to get this looking as close to a desktop computer as we can. Let's try to actually get a mouse working here. So the problem with getting a mouse connected to the 200LX is because we don't have a standard serial port with a DB9 connector. So to connect something here, we would actually have to create some kind of adapter and look out for the pinout for the serial port. It's not hard to find it online. Actually, it's quite easy to find the pinout for the 200LX serial port online. And we would need to create an adapter, and then we will need to use an adapter like this one to get the mouse connected here, and I don't know, it would be a mess. So I decided to do something different. First, I've seen online people just soldering wires directly to these pins, which I don't think it's an elegant solution. I've also seen people getting wires soldered directly to the motherboard and then having that loom of wire coming out of here with a DB9 a big DB9 connector like this to get a mouse running. I also don't like that solution. I think we should try to get some kind of connector that fits in here, and that's exactly what I did. Well, I actually found this hard drive on my stash of old hard drives, it doesn't work. I tested it, it didn't work. And coincidentally, it had a bunch of connectors here for the flat cable that goes inside to the heads. And this connector was a perfect fit for this serial port. So I just desoldered the connector and cut it in parts so I could have multiples of it to make different accessories for the 200LX. And I just use that for a mouse adapter. So let's put this aside and let's see what I came up with. So this is the mouse that I decided to use. It's just a standard serial port mouse, and I think the color kind of matches the HP. At least it's much better than a regular white mouse. And here's the connector that I came up with. So this is the connector that was in this hard drive, right? This was soldered here to this flat cable, and I just desoldered it and cut it. So I have five rows of 2 pins, 10 pins, and I just cut the mouse cable and directly soldered the corresponding pins to this connector. And you can see that it's also a keyed connector, right? So it has this notch on the top to make sure that you don't get it upside down in. So I also kind of try to reproduce the original notch that this should have, so I can quite easily connect it here to get the mouse working. Okay, so that's it. The mouse is connected, and I obviously cut the cable to make it shorter, because it would make no sense to have such a huge mouse cord for such a small device. And I also try to find a smaller mouse because I think it would be a better fit, but I could not find a small serial port mouse. All the mouses that I found for serial port are actually intended for use in a desktop computer, and they're kind of big. So this is the best I could come up with, and now we should try to see if it runs. And I'll just get a better shot of the screen and try to run Windows 3 so we can see if it actually works, right? So I think you guys can quite easily see that screen. So now we should try to get Windows running, and let's see what happens. So I'm running Windows 3.0 in real mode. That's the latest Windows version that we work with this Palmtop PC. Well, I guess we should try the mouse. Well, the mouse works, as you can see. The mouse is working fine. And now let me try to zoom in a little bit so you can get a clearer view of the screen. And here we have it. So I guess this project is starting to work. I mean, we do have a computer, an XT class computer running Windows 3, and we now have Windows 3 actually working. We can open up the accessories group. That's how these windows were called back then, a group. And we can open Paintbrush. Let's try to get Paintbrush working. It's kind of slow, but that's expected for an XT machine, an XT class machine. And let's try to draw something. Well, my drawing abilities with the mouse are pretty horrid. As you can see, I'm trying to draw an E and an H for electro horde, and it just looks awful. But well, it does work. That's what I'm trying to actually see whether it works or not, and it does. So now let's exit Paintbrush. I don't want to save this abstract drawing. if we go here to help, about program manager, we can see that it's running Windows 3.0 and free memory is 343 kilobytes. So, okay. So I guess it works. We have several other groups here in Windows. Let's see what we have under main. We have file manager. Let's open file manager for those who actually used Windows 3 back then. You probably remember file manager. And let's get this a little bigger. Okay, so now we can see all the folders that we have on the compact flash card. And this is on the A drive, right? We can also check the C drive. C drive is the internal RAM drive. So I guess everything's working here. We can just exit file manager. Yes, I do want to close it. Let's close this, and I guess we can also exit Windows now, because I guess it's working. Everything is working fine. And now my next idea is to try to get the portable Citizen printer that I have made a video about it before running here. So we could have a mouse and a printer working here, okay? So I guess this would make this a full desktop computer, because it runs Windows, it runs all DOS games and applications. It has a mouse, so we can actually navigate a little easier on Windows 3. And it can also print if you need to print something. So I guess this would make it a pretty standard desktop computer, even though it would be certainly the smallest XT desktop computer ever. Now let's try to focus on the printer and try to come up with something and try to get this to print something. Shall we? Okay. Okay, so the whole idea of trying to get a printer connected to the 200LX came from this document that I found online. This is an old HP journal about Palmtops. It was pretty common back in the day, during the early to late 90s. And they would place ads and reviews and tips for everything related to the HP Palmtops. And if we take a closer look here, this edition actually is from 1995. You can see it on this corner, and it actually features the Citizen PN60 printer connected via serial cable to the 200LX Palmtop. So this printer was actually targeted for this ultra portable devices and Palmtops back in the day. And we can see that this is exactly the same printer that I did an unboxing, and I also printed a few stuff with it on a previous video. If you follow the channel, you have probably seen that video, and if you didn't, please watch it, because I think it makes sense watching the videos about this printer first, and before we get it running with the HP Palmtop. And if we take a look here, there's even a review about this printer here. So if we head over to page number 13 down here, we can see the 200LX connected to two different printers. This one is a pocket jet printer, and this one is my Citizen PN60. So that's why I had this idea of having a compact flash card, just like a hard drive, connected to the 200LX, so we can save our documents to flash memory. Having a mouse connected to the 200LX, so we can actually make the use of Windows 3.0 a little easier, and also trying to get a printer running with it, because it would be awesome to have like a really small desktop computer. So this is where the idea came from. This is why I decided to make this video. I'm trying to put it all together and see if everything works together and if I can actually get everything running. So now I'll get the printer, get back here, and try to get it to print something using the HP 200LX. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I have the printer, but before actually trying to use the printer, what I want to do is copy a Word file back to the compact flash card. I have removed the compact flash card from the HP 200LX and it's now connected to my desktop computer, my laptop. And we'll try to get a Word file in here saved to my documents folder so we can actually have some kind of document to try to print it. Okay, so I'm here on Wikipedia and I'll just copy the description about the 200LX and I'll copy it over, and then I have a blank Word document here which I'll use to just paste everything here. Okay, so I have pasted everything here. Let me just put a title in here to make it look a little bit better. And HP 200LX. Let's make this bold. Let's increase the font size a little bit, and I guess that's it. I guess we can save it. Okay, so we're having a small problem here. Okay, that's because I'm using an older Word format. Obviously, I need to use that older format to be compatible with the 200LX. So, okay, it's saved. Now I'll just safely remove this compact flash card, and I can now remove it. And we'll put it back in the 200LX, and now we have to deal with the printer and how to connect it to the 200LX. That's our next step. So the first thing we need to do now is get the printer connected to the HP 200LX. So here's the cable printer. As you can see, it's just a regular serial cable with a DB9 connector. This other connector is the one that goes in the printer. So we obviously can't get this connected straight through here. So we need to make, well, I've been thinking about what's best to do. I could try to cut this connector and use the rest of the connector that I took from the hard drive to make a similar connector to what I did with the mouse, like I did here. But I don't think that's the best idea right now, because this is the only serial cable that I have for the printer, and I just don't want to cut it off and risk damaging it, because then I would never be able to print anything, because I tried to do a search online to try to find this kind of connector so I could bind just this spare connector and make a serial cable with this one on the other end, like so. But I could not find anything about this connector. I could not even find the name of it, what it's called. So I guess that's not an option. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, would be to actually try to make a connector so I don't an adapter, so I don't have to cut this cable. And this is what I came up with. So this is just a male DB9 connector for serial port. It goes in here, and on the other hand, I used the rest of the connector that I got from the old hard drive and did this serial connector that fits in the 200LX. So this connector fits in here, and this one goes straight to the printer, so I don't risk damaging this cable for now. In the future, if I find another cable like this one, or even if I do find a connector like this one, I would definitely just cut this cable and make one that goes straight into the 200LX because I guess this would be the best option. It would be a much more elegant solution. So I guess the next step now is to try to configure the 200LX to run to actually be able to print using the Citizen PN60 printer. And I've been messing around with the settings before. I did configure this before filming, so I don't spend much time here. I don't lose much time here, and I can quickly go through all the steps needed to configure the 200LX to actually print with the Citizen printer. So let's just see what I did here. Well, first thing you need to do is go into Setup here, and then if you hit F3, you get into the printer settings. Okay, so these are the printer settings. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. These are the printer settings, and if we take a look, so the interface that I'll be connecting it to is COM1, because COM2 is for a modem, PCMCIe modem. Baud rate is 9600, and the printer emulation type, I selected IBM Pro Printer. Why did I do that? Because if we remember back, we printed this page, this test page on my last video with the Citizen printer, and these are the settings that are stored inside the printer's memory. So it is running IBM emulation mode. The serial baud rate is 9600. So what I did was I did not change any configurations on the printer, but I did change the configurations on the 200LX to match the ones on the printer. So this is all that I did. We can see that I already have the compact flash card back in the slot with the Word document that we're gonna try to print. And I even opened it up here to make sure that it is working. Okay, so here it is. It opens up just fine. It's perfectly readable here, and there it is. So now the next step is to connect the printer, get everything set up, and do a test print. Okay, so let me just get the printer, set everything here on my desk so we can try our first test page. Okay, so I have the printer here. It is connected to the Palmtop with this cable, to the serial port with this cable. I have already loaded a paper, and let's get this online by hitting the online button. And now we'll hit Alt F for the menu, and we'll hit print. The 200LX is asking if we want to print to a file or to a printer. Printer is selected, so let me just hit enter and let's see what happens. Well, it is printing. I guess it will take some time before it actually finishes printing. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's see. Well, it is printing. You can see the text up there. This is the file we're printing. Let me just get the 200LX here so you can actually see what's on the screen. This is what we're actually printing now. That's the Wikipedia article about the 200LX. So as you saw, I just copied the file over to the compact flash card and saved it. It's called test.doc, and I opened it up in Memo, which is a built-in application that comes with the 200LX that is able to open Word documents. And after setting up the configuration files for the printer, we're able to actually print what's here directly from the 200LX, which is actually pretty cool in my opinion. Let's wait a little more. could actually have used a shorter text because this printer is a little slow. But well, at least we'll get a full page, a full printer page, and we can check the results, if it will print everything, and if the font looks fine, if it's actually readable. Let's wait for it to finish. I also have the mouse here. Unfortunately, we cannot have both connected at the same time, right? Because the 200LX only has one serial port, even though when we were setting up the printer, you might have noticed that it says COM1 and COM2, but COM2, like I said, is just for the modem. You do not have access to an external COM2 port, only COM1. So you'd actually have to have the mouse connected, and if you want to print something, you have to just exchange both the mouse with the printer. So it did finish printing. This is the result. It actually looks quite good, in my opinion. It's very, very, very readable, as you can see, and it works. That's really awesome. I mean, it's almost unbelievable that back in 1994, 1995, you could actually have such a small office in your backpack. You could even carry it in, I don't know, if you had big pockets, you could even have everything fit on a jacket pocket. And it's just awesome, don't you think? I mean, being able to have a mouse and a full XT portable PC and a printer, all of them in your backpack, so you could actually make use of everything together and get your work done on the move. I guess it's just something really, really nice, right? So now let's get back to the 200LX. I'll just zoom a little more here so you can clearly see the screen, and I'll just disconnect the printer here, right? So we can go back to System Manager. I'll just connect back the mouse like we're supposed to do, since we only got one COM port, and we can head back for Windows, for instance, for Windows 3.0, and actually use Windows. So here we are. The mouse works just fine. We just need to disconnect the printer and connect back the mouse. We don't need to do anything, change any configuration or anything. Let's exit Windows. Let's back to System Manager. And the interesting thing is that the 200LX, as you know, also has an infrared port. And there is a version of this printer, model number PN60i, which has an infrared port. So you could actually have the mouse attached to the 200LX permanently and use the serial port here on the side to actually print to an infrared printer without actually having to disconnect the mouse to use the printer. I did try to find the PN60i version to purchase, and I couldn't. I mean, there are some eBay ads, but they are long gone, and the printers have been sold. I could not find any currently available for a few months, so this is the best I could find, which is the cable version. But I think it works just fine. It's not too bad to just replace the cables, especially because you won't need to print something every now and then. You only have to print something every now and then. You won't be printing everything all the time. So I don't think this is a problem, but in theory you could actually use the both together if you had the PN60i version of this printer. So thank you very much for watching. Give it a thumbs up for this video if you like it. Please subscribe to my channel. It's a brand new channel. I've only made a few videos so far. And please comment below if you want to see something different on the channel, and let me know what you think about this setup and if we should try something different. And thank you very much for watching, and see you on our next episode. Bye bye.